All right, so I'm going to be doing another comic review, another book sent to me by my friend Chris. Thank you as always, brother. And today we're going to be talking about Green Lantern War Journal, Volume 2, The Builder. This is the end of the Green Lantern War Journal storyline, which I reviewed. I look back at what the last time I talked about Green Lantern War Journal was back in 2024. Hard to believe that was 2 years ago. So I'm going to have to do some major catching up with everyone real fast on what, because this book is long over. This book only ran for 12 issues. So this is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and um, in this series, basically what's going on is that, like, formerly in the DC universe, the Green Lantern Corps was disbanded because the Guardians had left, and new Green Lanterns are under the jurisdiction of this united galaxy of planets that was created in Bendis's Justice League run, which I don't think anyone even remembers anymore. But I digress. So basically, John Stewart, Hal Jordan, all of them. Jeremy Adams was kind of doing all the work for Hal Jordan's book. Philip Kennedy Johnson was doing John Stewart's book, and John returned home to his mom, who's dying of dementia. However, he encounters a lantern named Shepard, who is from another universe and being attacked by this being from that universe called the Revenant Queen. In that universe, John defeated the Revenant Queen, and now she's after him. The Revenant Queen's basically a heart for the thing called the Dark Stars, and now John is at war with the Revenant Queen, and meanwhile he's left a construct of his dead sister Ellie to watch over his mom while he's gone. Everybody got that? Yeah. Like I said, that was a lot to take in. Like, that was genuinely a lot to take in. I had to remind myself all of that. So this picks up where that story left off. In that storyline, John has basically been thrown into the Revenant Queen's universe, where he encounters the Queen's forces and is trying to fight his way back. Meanwhile, the construct of his sister is trying desperately to keep his mom safe from the Revenant Queen's servants, who are basically creating constructs of their abusive father, which is really messed up. I really like this comic. It's always cool to see, John Stewart get the spotlight, even though this comic didn't last long. I like when the focus is on John Stewart, and Philip Kennedy Johnson is one of my favorite writers. I wish he did more. He didn't sign an exclusivity thing with Marvel, even though, yes, I love his Hulk run and I love a lot of his other stuff. I'm sure he's going to be doing more books in the future. I was kind of hoping he would stick on both sides, because he wrote one of the best Superman stories in recent years with the Warworld saga, and I was really happy with how this Green Lantern comic was going. So I kind of wish he didn't do the exclusivity deal. I don't know how much money Marvel threw at him, but yeah. Anyway, so going back to this, this series is real. We see showcase why, John through the whole thing is a soldier, so he thinks and feels as a soldier would. He's facing all these different forces on all sides. He's also viewing things like a soldier, and how he's kind of carrying. It's like, he even says, like, this is how I kind of respond to the trauma of it all, is like how a soldier would react. And I kind of like that. It really kind of shows how tactical John can be in these situations. I also like that we have a comic where Guy Gardner isn't just a walking butt of the joke. We even find out that, John Stewart trusts Guy Gardner more than anyone else in the world, which is actually true. In a lot of the Green Lantern comics, John and Guy are usually the ones who are fighting side by side, and they've had the most experience with one another. And even though John has said that, Guy's an acquired taste, there's no one else he would get in the trenches with. So it's kind of nice to see a comic where Guy Gardner is actually treated, my favorite Green Lantern is being treated with some respect. It's kind of nice. We're probably getting more, because, again, Guy is the current. I'm sure we'll get more stuff from the Lantern comics when the Lanterns TV show comes out. But as it stands, it's nice to see Guy Gardner getting some respect, where he's not just a joke. There's a lot more to that character. Anyway, so as I was like saying, the Revenant Queen's a cool villain. Though she's basically, even though her origin is connected to the Dark Stars, and we do get like a cool new origin lore for the Dark Stars themselves, which were like the proto Green Lanterns, but more darker. But here, the Revenant Queen, she kind of feels like a Black Lantern stand-in. Like she's meant to be like a Necron stand-in, not Necrons from Warhammer, Necron, the Grim Reaper entity from DC Comics. Anyway, like I was saying, yeah. So they kind of treat her more as like the Dark Stars from her universe as like the Black Lanterns, which I kind of see as like, yeah. I mean, it does make sense. Philip Kennedy Johnson does do a lot of horror. Like he's clearly shown his love for horror comics on his sleeve, so that doesn't surprise me in the least that we're getting that in this series. The whole thing with Ellie, the Ellie construct getting its own sentience is kind of cool. Though I do wish we got more of like John realizing what he's done of like basically not so much resurrecting, but more like creating a new life from his willpower and keeping it alive and having its own sentience. I'm sure they go into it in the new Green Lantern Corps series, but like, yeah. It's also cool to see like John working with Ironworks, which is a comic series that, while I wasn't really like the main focus, it just kind of didn't grab me. I do wish we get more of Ironworks in the future. So it was cool to see him work with John Henry in the comic. Yeah. It does suck that this series does end. It only lasted for 12 issues. Maybe that was the intention. I don't know. It was billed as like an ongoing, but I guess it could only carry itself for 12 issues. So, we got Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern comic, and this I wanted to read first because Chris did send me this, which is Green Lantern Civil Corps, and this was the big event Jeremy Adams was building to in the series. Like that's been the big comic that he's been Jeremy Adams has been building throughout. So it's going to be cool to like actually sit down and read Civil Corps, because I wanted to read this first because events in there affect that comic, because it's affecting all the Green Lantern. It was like a big Green Lantern event. Anyway, so this comic has been out. I'm surprised they haven't put like a complete edition. I hope, even though DC doesn't really do this a lot, I really do hope that they do put out like a Green Lantern War Journal complete collection for people to read, because it's only 12 issues. So I wouldn't it wouldn't be that hard to do a complete collection. Especially, I hope they would, because even though yes, I have both volumes, I don't really need the complete collection, but I think people should read this. So if you are a John Stewart fan. And I hope they would put it in a complete collection edition or a compact edition, because, Lanterns is coming out, and I'm sure you want to promote John Stewart as much as you would Hal Jordan. Anyway, so yeah, this comic series was pretty solid. And it's always cool to see John get his time to shine. But you guys tell me. So, Chris, thank you once again for the comic. And as I said before, if you have read this comic, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Comment below, let me know. I'm very curious to see if anyone read this, because I didn't hear any hype for it, which kind of sucks, because I think it's an underrated gem. So, again, I kind of hope we do get a complete collection edition. Anyway, so yeah, once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.